NFL video alongside my very dear friend Holly's Adventures. We are coming at you with Week 15 picks of the NFL season, and we already got a kitty cat sighting. Now, Karis was just in here. I think she just walked out the door though. But so a lot of things to get into this week. We are making the push NFL playoffs. This will be the first video we discuss the current seeding as it stands entering Week 15. Meaning, if the playoffs would start this week, you can check in the video description. I'll also go over them here at the end of the video. Kind of busy. Well, not really busy. I got an early day tomorrow, but Holly and I come at you every Wednesday with these picks, and then I've got a Liza P video I got to get up. The end of the last video I did, the boss champion Victor put me down, but you know what? Off stream, I put his butt down, so we're going to get a video of that up tonight as well. So, I have my new fancy pen. Got to show you guys this. Which, Holly, since you actually added on Facebook, my niece makes these. She makes pins, badge reels, all that sort of things. In my videos I stream from my PS5, you guys might notice raw beads and things. That is my niece's business. She started from the ground up. She has reached over, I believe, 30 of the states out of 50. I would love to see her hit all 50 states. But I just commend her. She always gets a shout out she's actually shouted out my YouTube channel a couple of times, on her Facebook or on her business Facebook page. But she made this for me. Obviously she knows I'm a gamer, game over. And then I had a thing for Goomba from Mario. It's kind of funny that she didn't know that this thing had a name. She knew it was the very first enemy that you face in a Mario game, but didn't know it had a name. But yes, this is Goomba for those that don't know. But huge shout out to Robbie's and things, my niece. I could not be more proud of her. Essentially, literally taking a business and starting it from the ground up into, despite what people may say, you know what, I'm proud of her. She does amazing work. Like I said, Holly, I'll have to send you an invite to it. But so action-packed week, as I stated. All 32 teams are playing. Bye weeks are now officially over. Last week, we both went 8-7, despite it through it all. Monday night, we saw two very shocking upsets, with the Dolphins losing to the Titans, blowing a 2-score lead in the final 2.5 minutes, and then Green Bay blowing it against the Giants. But season totals brings me to 116-74. The 8-7 brings Holly to 102-72. Playoff seedings, I was going to do this at the end. I'll just get these knocked out right away. If the playoffs were to start today, the AFC, the Ravens have the 1 seed, the Dolphins have the 2 seed, the Chiefs have the 3 seed, the Jaguars have the 4 seed, the Browns have the 5 seed, the Steelers have the 6 seed, and the Colts have the 7 seed. What makes the AFC so dynamic is there is also 4 or 5 other teams jockeying for that 6 and 7 spot. So these next 4 weeks are critical, especially for the AFC. Over on the NFC side of things, we have the 49ers as the 1 seed. The Cowboys with a huge win on Sunday night, which that has now catapulted the Cowboys into the number 2 seed. The Lions hold the 3 seed. The Buccaneers hold the 4 seed, despite the fact the Falcons and the Saints are also tied with the same record. Tampa Bay has the better, I believe it's a division record, or it could be the conference record, but that's why Tampa Bay holds that tiebreaker. The Eagles plummet down to 5. The Vikings hold the 6, and Green Bay, despite the loss, clinging to that 7 seed. So that is the picture coming into this week. And mathematically eliminated are the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots. Done. No playoffs for them. We are going to kick this action-packed week off Thursday night. Tomorrow night, the 5-8 LA Chargers taking on the 5-8 Las Vegas Raiders. Mathematically, these two teams are very much in it. However, the Chargers, it was announced either earlier today or it might have been yesterday, quarterback Justin Herbert out for the year with a finger injury requiring surgery. So he is now done for the year. I think that really puts a damper on LA's playoff push. just because again, we've talked about this with Joe Burrow, we've talked about this with the Jets losing Aaron Rodgers. When you lose that starting quarterback, the whole dichotomy of your team changes a little bit. The Raiders, they've been hit or miss, and so have the Chargers. And I think the big thing in this comes down to quarterbacks. Aiden O'Connell, he's at least been the starting quarterback in Las Vegas for the last few weeks. I think that's gonna pay dividends there. I'm kicking the week off with an upset. I'm gonna take the Raiders at home based on the injury to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game to say the least. So, both teams have had their ups and downs. Both teams had their good flaws and bad flaws. I'm going to go with an upset too. I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one.
Ooh, yeah, I heard the Herbert's like, ooh, crap. We move on. We have 3 games on Saturday. We kick Saturday off with the 7-6 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 7-6 Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be a very interesting game. The Vikings have benched Josh Dobbs. Nick Mullins will get the start at quarterback. What the heck is his name? Jake Browning, I think is his name, for Cincinnati. Bengals looked really, really good last week against Indianapolis. The Vikings, again, one of those teams they are currently in the 6th seed. They're tied with Green Bay. They have a better conference record than Green Bay, hensing why Minnesota has the 6th seed. However, Green Bay and Minnesota play each other before the season's end, so a lot of jockeying of position can happen between those two teams. However, Nick Mullins, he's a journeyman. He's been around for a while. Jake Browning looked really, really good. That Cincinnati offense looked really good last week against the Colts. The Bengals, they're on the outside looking in. I think both of these teams. Oh, and my wife's on the phone with her friend. I thought she hollered for me. I was like, huh? But between these two teams, I think both teams are in. I don't want to say desperation, but both teams are desperately needing a win. I think the Bengals more so because they're on the outside looking in, and I'm taking Cincy in this game. A, because they're at home, but B, because I want Minnesota to lose because it'll help Green Bay's chances to get into the playoffs. But I think it can come down to either way. But I'm going to go with the way Cincinnati looked last week. I'm going to take Cincy at home.
Yeah, Cincinnati. I mean, I just thought the fact of that Joe Burrow being out for the year that was it for Cincinnati. That okay, well, this Cincinnati team's done and over with. The Vikings are a well-rounded team, but I think overall, I think the Bengals really have that want and drive for it. So I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Yeah, it should be a good game, but we'll see how it plays out. Next up, we have 2 teams in the AFC hunt. We have the 7-6 Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the 7-6 Indianapolis Colts. God, I kind of wishy-washied on this one a couple of times because both of these teams have been up and down. It's been really hard to get on both of these teams. I really am just basing this on home field. I really am. I think this game can go either way. You might as well flip a coin on this one. But I'm taking the Colts at home. I don't know why. Like I said, I think I'm just going with the fact that they're at home. But it would not surprise me if Pittsburgh won this game. But like I said, home team, that's usually my tiebreaker when it comes to games I'm on the fence on. So I'm thinking to take the Colts at home.
I don't care for either team. Either team are not showing me anything. So I think
right.
I can go with Pittsburgh.
Ooh, going to have a splitty. All right, and closing out Saturday, we have the 7-6 Denver Broncos taking on the 9-4 Detroit Lions. About 6 weeks ago, the Broncos were dead to rights. I mean, they were going to be the way of Carolina and New England, not even sniffing the playoffs. And now, here they are. They are literally on the cusp. There are those teams on the bubble. They're on the outside looking in right now, but they have just as good a shot as Pittsburgh and Indianapolis with that same record. Taking on the Lions team that really they're still mathematically in position to win the NFC North. So the Lions are going to get in no matter what. Even if they have another collapse, I'd still look for them to get in as a wild card. I think the Lions, to win the division, have to win like 2 of their next 4 games to clinch that division, coupled with losses by Minnesota and Green Bay. Um, this one's very tough because I think the Broncos are very capable to get the job done, but I think the Lions have got to stop that bleeding somewhere. They've not looked like the Lions of earlier this season. I think it all started with that Thanksgiving loss to Green Bay, and it just seems like the Lions have gone downhill. But I think this is a game at home. I think they can potentially turn it around. Really hard to go against Denver in that winning streak they put on. I kind of bit in the butt last week by when the Broncos beat the Chargers, but like I said, all streaks have got to end, and I honestly think Detroit can end Denver's winning streak, and I think they'll get it done in Motown. Like I said, I think the Lions have got to turn this thing around if anybody's going to as a viable contender for the playoffs. Getting to the playoffs is one thing, but actually proving yourself in those playoffs is a whole other thing. So, like I said, Detroit's got to stop the bleeding somewhere. I think they get it done against Denver this week.
Detroit's hungry. They're going to want that win. They're going to want to prove that they are playoff Super Bowl contenders. So give me Detroit.
Detroit. Moving on to Sunday. Where do I have the Lions twice? Or no, oh, never mind. I was like, why do I have the Lions twice? I don't. I just can't read my own handwriting. We have the 5-8 Chicago Bears taking on the 8-5 Cleveland Browns. The Bears have kind of turned it around a little bit, but and honestly, mathematically, the Bears, because they have Carolina's number 1 draft pick this upcoming year, which as it stands right now, the Panthers hold the number 1 pick. So by proxy, that means the Bears would have the number 1 pick, and mathematically, they can still get into the playoffs. So the Bears are in a really unique situation here. I don't think that really. I don't think the Bears are going to make the playoffs by any means. I think the Browns defense is the Bears offensive line is absolute trash, and that defensive line of Cleveland is a menace, especially led by Myles Garrett. I think the Browns wreak havoc on Chicago on that offensive line. I think they have a field day, and yeah, I think the Bears try to keep it close, but I think defensively the Browns are going to stymie Chicago and give me Cleveland in this one all day.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's going to be interesting because both teams are kind of wishy-washy. But the Browns have been really, really good. Now the Bears, I say it, the Bears are doing something. So I'm going to go with the whim, and I'm going to go with the Bears.
Oh, wow.
I know.
I like it, but yeah, that's like what?
Well, I mean, what 2-3 games that we went against them, and they proved us wrong.
Not only proved us wrong, but I mean they didn't just win by like a field goal; like they won by like double digits. It's like, wait, what? So I mean, it
I'm going to get lucky like I've been doing, or am I going to go face first in the dirt?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, it's Justin Fields is showing. Maybe it's not Justin Fields that's the problem in Chicago. You've got to have playmakers. It's kind of interesting if the Bears do get, if like I said, Carolina, wherever Carolina finishes in, for the draft order, that pick goes to Chicago for the DJ Moore trade. If you're the Bears, what do you do? Do you take Caleb Williams? Do you build your franchise around, another potential, quarterback, or do you give Justin Fields help? Do you give him Marvin Harrison Jr.? Do you give him a standout wide receiver that can pair with Justin Moore? It's going to be interesting to see what Chicago does with Carolina's draft pick. Like I said, I don't think Justin Fields is the problem in Chicago. I think he might be part of it, but he's certainly not the whole thing. I think Chicago has a lot of things to decide in the offseason. What, Bubba? I see you. All right. Next up, we have the 6-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the 6-7 Green Bay Packers. The Buccaneers currently in the driver's seat. They lead the NFC South. They have the tiebreaker over the Saints and the Falcons. The Packers, despite losing to the Giants on Monday, they still cling to that 7 seed. But another loss could really put Green Bay on the outside looking in permanently for this season. I think Green Bay's defense is so atrocious. I think the Packers need to move on from Joe Barry. I even said that last year that I think Green Bay's defense is their Achilles heel right now. Um, Jordan Love, he didn't play terrible. He didn't play great, but he didn't play terrible. So I think Packer fans that keep pointing the finger at Jordan Love need to look at inward and look at the defense. I didn't see the game Monday. I was asleep, but when I woke up and I saw the Giants won on a last second field goal, and I saw the play that led to the field goal, there wasn't a Packer defender within like 5-7 yards of the Giants. So it's like, wait, how do you give that game away? A game you should have won. Take nothing away from the Giants. We'll get to the Giants later on, but I think as far as this game comes down to who needs it more, and I think the Packers playing at home. Now we were kind of on cloud nine a couple weeks ago. Like, look at this is the turnaround. We can run the table, and then we had a buzzsaw with the Giants. So the Bucks, I think Tampa Bay keeps it close. I'm going against my gut because every part of me wants to take Tampa, but it's Green Bay is still my team. Until they're out, I can't count them out. I think this has got to be it has to be a win for Green Bay. If Green Bay wants to solidify themselves as a potential contender to vie for the playoffs, this is a game they have to have.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, at home, if this was in Tampa, I'd probably go the other way. But with it being in Green Bay, it's December. It's going to be cold, possibly snow. That's what the Packers play in. So reluctantly, give me Green Bay.
Yeah, saying the fact of that they're going to be playing in Green Bay, like you said, it's going to be cold. It's a possibility of snow. We in the South, we don't play well in the snow. We cold, but the thing is, our cold is much wetter compared to up north. So it's a dry cold versus a wet cold.
Right.
So that's going to be a big difference. That's going to be a contributing factor. But I think Green Bay has what it takes to pull off the win above the Bucks, just because they haven't showed me anything. I think their wins have just been kind of on a whim.
Almost mediocre.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have the 7-6 Tennessee, the 7-6 Houston Texans taking on the 5-8 Tennessee Titans. This game I really kind of waffled on quite a bit myself because the Texans been on a little bit of a decline. They got blown out by the Jets. C.J. Stroud left that game with a concussion. Not sure what his status is going to be in that game. The Titans pulled off an improbable comeback last Monday against Miami. They were down 2 scores with like 2.5 minutes left to go in the game, and they rallied to stun the Dolphins by it was like 1 or 2 points to get the win. I think Tennessee can pull off an upset here. And I should probably take Tennessee because, like I said, I'm not sure what C.J. Stroud's status is going to be for Sunday. As of Monday, he was in the concussion protocol, which those that don't know, NFL players that get a concussion have to go through a bevy of tests and neurological things before they get back on the field. Because if you've never had a concussion, trust me, I've had a couple in my lifetime. If you have a concussion and you rush back. I played baseball when I was younger, and I got whopped in the head with a bat. I got a concussion, and they're like, no, like you cannot, like you have to, you have to go through this because, if you play with a concussion, it can lead to a lot more serious things. So they might keep C.J. Stroud out for precautionary measures, but Texans are one of those teams that are on the bubble. They're in that 7-6 bracket, if you will, with 6-7 teams vying for 2 spots. So I think I'm gonna stick with my gut. I wrote down Houston. I'm gonna stick with Houston, but that could easily change. It's not gonna change. That's what I'm picking. I'm sticking to my pick. But I think if C.J. Stroud doesn't play, I think it's very, very possible that Tennessee can pull off another upset because Will Levis looks really good for Tennessee, and I think he could be their right guy going forward. So, but I'm a man of my word. I picked Houston. I'm going to stick with Houston. So, but like I said, C.J. Stroud's status in the air. I'm not so confident with it, but like I said, that's what I wrote, so I'm sticking with Houston.
Houston has been they seem like a decline. recently. The
Mhm.
past game or so. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to split off. I'm going to go for Tennessee.
Yeah, I knew there was going to be a week like we were going to be like opposite, which I like it. I like it. Next up we have the eight or no, we have the 5-8 New York Jets taking on the 9-4 Miami Dolphins. The Jets. It was announced earlier today that regardless, in the offseason, the Jets are trading Zach Wilson. They came to a mutual agreement. This was an agreement that was reached after Zach Wilson was benched for the first time this season. Head coach Robert Saleh has basically gone on record and said that regardless of what happens with the Jets the rest of the season, um, Zach Wilson is going to be the starter for the rest of the season, and then he will be eventually in the offseason, he will be traded to another team, which makes sense. Aaron Rodgers is going to be back healthy next year. Miami, they got stunned last week by Tennessee. And the fact that they are in the number 2 seed right now. The Dolphins don't have a whole lot of room for error in a very crowded AFC. I think the Dolphins are going to build on that loss, and they're going to be. I don't want to say the Jets are going to be like their punching bag, but the Dolphins are going to want to right the wrong from last week. Dolphins are at home. You know, Give me the Dolphins at home. I think they're just as good as they've been all year. They just, credit to Tennessee. They played better. Miami kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit, and they paid the price. So, but I don't see it. I don't see lightning striking twice for Miami. I look for Miami to get on the right side of the tracks, if you will. So, give me Miami at home.
Yeah, Miami's going to be looking for a win. They're going to be hungry. They're going to want that. I guess they say revenge from from against Tennessee. But like you said, they're at home, so it's going to be loud.
Yep.
So they're going to feed off of that. So give me Miami.
Give Miami. Scoot my paper up a little bit. Next up, we have the 8-5 Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 3-10 New England Patriots. Touched on the top of the broadcast that the Patriots mathematically are eliminated. What that's going to mean for Bill Belichick is remaining to be seen. The Chiefs are kind of sputtering right now. The Chiefs are actually on the no, they are they're the third seed based. Yeah, the Chiefs are the third seed because they lead the AFC West. One thing I do want to point out for those that do not know about playoff positioning, the top 4 seeds are division winners. That's how the first 4 seeds are determined. A lot of people may not know that, and then of course the other 3 are wild cards, and those are basically attributed by record. But a lot of like these teams that are tied for the same record, if you're tied for the same record, it goes to head to head. If the head to head is even or non existent, it goes by conference record. Who has the better conference record? That's how all that stuff gets determined. A lot of people don't understand playoff seeding and why. Well, I don't understand. Well, there's 8 teams tied for the same record. How do they determine it? Well, there you go. It's by teams with the same record. It goes by head to head. And if that's not enough, then it goes by, and usually it goes by conference record, which is what defines it. But Kansas City, they whether it was a no call or I know the potential game winning touchdown was negated by a Kadarius Toney offsides call in that game against Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes had his little fit about it.
Did he ever?
Yeah, even though he actually hugged Josh Allen, and he was like, "That was the worst fucking call." I mean, like, I'm like, dude, I understand that, but like, have a little bit of sportsmanship. It's not like you guys haven't won games via referees' calls before. So you were just on the other side of the stick, per se. Refereeing has been horrible this year. We've touched on that in several of these videos. The officiating has been horrible. Um, Another thing that's been horrible is New England. I think this is kind of an open and shut case. I think the Chiefs get the win here. And I look for them to get the win big. I think they're going to be coming off of that sour taste in their mouth getting beat by Buffalo, which Buffalo we'll talk about in the game of the week later on. But yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win this game and they're going to win it big. I think they're going to be out to prove that they were wrong last week, and what better way to do that than to beat the crap out of your next opponent. So give me Kansas City on the road. Yeah.
Yeah. They hear the doorbell and then they go ballistic. So, like, oh my gosh, dogs. So, Kansas City, I kind of watched some of the highlights with that one, and there was a lot of issues in that game. Not just on Rev side, but on both teams' side between Buffalo and KC. And there was quite a few disqualifications I noticed, especially with fights and stuff. So that was a big contributing factor to KC's loss. Because I think they got, who was the number 14 on? No, number 2 on Kansas City got ejected. And then there was another one I think got ejected too because of that, of the same for fighting. I mean, ridiculous. It's a damn football game. But anywho, hey,
Mindless, how's it going?
I think I don't think I know Kansas City's got this. Now, quit going on Bill Belichick. I was reading somewhere that there's a high possibility that at the end of this season, the Patriots are going to cut ties with Bill Belichick. So, regardless of their win or lose, I think really ultimately they're just going to part ways with him at the end of the season, just because of the record he's had so far. But give me KC.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of whether if they cut ties with him, I mean, whether you like the guy or not, Bill Belichick, one of the best coaches in the NFL in the last, 20, 30 years. He amassed 6 Super Bowl titles. Granted, he had this, what's his name? Tom Brady, I think was his name, that was at the helm for all of those. But yeah, I mean, what a ride, regardless. But I know Robert Kraft, the owner, is not too keen on losing. But next up, we have the 5-8 New York Giants taking on the 6-7 New Orleans Saints. The Saints are in the mix for the playoffs as well, and the Giants. This young kid named Tommy DeVito has proven himself to be possibly the new flag bearer, if you will, in New York. I think he's a step up above Daniel Jones. I think the Giants have potential in this game. I think the Giants could easily pull off an upset. However, I don't take anything away from the Saints in the Superdome. Um, like I said, this game can go either way, but this comes down to, like I said, when in doubt, I pick the home team, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to take the Saints at home.
Yeah, the Saints when they're at home in that Superdome, that dome is loud, and they get loud. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing they got behind them is it's going to be loud, and they're going to have that side. So give it the Saints.
Come on. Yes, might get to see s'mores. Come here. Come here, hi, baby. Come here. Turn around so everybody can see. Oh, there we go. There's the s'mores for those who have never seen her. The baby of the family. Yeah, you going to say hi? Oh, you gonna lay on my? You gonna lay on me? We show
Usually,
our cats a lot. We get oh, this is her spot. Right here on my stomach.
the
Yeah,
dad.
great. Yeah. And we always show our cats off. Well, now she just bolted. She heard something out of the room. But next up we have the 6-7 Atlanta Falcons taking on the 1-12 Carolina Panthers. The Falcons again tied with New Orleans, tied with Tampa Bay. So I mean they're very much in the playoff picture. Um, everything. Mindless is I'm not a sports person, so can't really contribute. Hey, you know what? Understandable. We'll take it. um, I picked Atlanta in this game. Atlanta has let me down so many times this year. I think the Panthers. This is a game
I
that
think that's
Carolina can win.
a comeback game.
Yeah. So I mean, the Panthers. Nothing. I mean, nothing has gone right for Carolina this year. They fired Frank Reich earlier this year. Um, I'm taking the Falcons, but I'm not going to be surprised if Carolina wins this game just because it's the Falcons. Yeah, we're doing the coin flip.
Okay, so we got heads for Carolina for the Falcons. Tails, we got the Falcons.
All right. All right. So
Wait,
that's how we solve that.
last week.
I almost took Carolina. I'm like, just go with your gut. But
Yeah,
next up,
gut with that game because I mean, neither team has really done nothing this year.
no, I mean the Falcons have been so up and down. The fact that they're even contending for a division title this late in the year, you're looking at Tampa Bay. Really, all three of those teams have been so up and down. You could potentially have a team with a losing record in the playoffs hosting a playoff game because they win the division. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. But I digress. We're going to go to the next game. The 4-9 Washington Commanders taking on the 6-7 LA Rams. This is the Rams are another team. They're in that echelon with that 6-7 tribe, if you will. The NFC is the same way. They got about 6-7 teams jockeying for 3 playoff spots. Going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But with this one, I haven't been impressed with either one of these teams. They both have been the Rams have been lukewarm at best. The Commanders have just been, other than Sam Howell, haven't really shown flashes of anything. That being said, this comes down to the home team again. I'm taking the Rams at home.
Yeah, I mean neither team has really showed anything as far as want or drive. So I'm gonna just kind of go with like the gut and say the home team and go with the Rams.
Then this next game I have is, I don't know what the hell I was doing when I wrote this game out, but I have the 10-3 San Francisco 49ers taking on the 3-10 San Francisco 49ers. That is actually supposed to be the 49ers at the Cardinals. I have no idea why I had. So the 49ers are going to play themselves, apparently. Either way, I'm taking the 49ers. But no, the Cardinals have been ass all year. Even with Kyler Murray, they haven't looked very good. The 49ers, they're in the driver's seat. They have the number 1 seed. I have said for the last several weeks, the 49ers are the best team in the NFC right now. They proved that a couple weeks ago with a dominating win against Philadelphia. Like I said, that being said, I look for the 49ers to roll in this game, and I look for them to roll big in this game. So give me San Fran on the road against Arizona. Not against San Fran, but against Arizona.
Yeah, now I did kind of watch a little bit of the 49ers game against the Seahawks last week, and it was a good game. Now the 49ers did kind of slack a little bit, and I think because they thought they had that game in the bag.
Yep.
But I'm going to go with San Francisco on this one.
Right. But mine was 49ers versus 49ers. That might actually be a good game compared to the actual matchup. True story on that.
Right.
We have America's game of the week. We have the 10-3 Dallas Cowboys taking on the 7-6 Buffalo Bills. This is going to be a good one. I think you've got two teams with a lot to prove for different reasons. You have the Cowboys at 10-3. They now sit atop of the NFC East. They currently hold the number 2 seed in the NFC. Something Dallas wants to preserve, if you will. I think this could be a very big win for Dallas. Buffalo, on the other hand, again, they're in that echelon of teams that are 7-6, jockeying for a playoff spot. They're on the outside looking in. Yes, they beat the Chiefs last week. Can they build on that? Something else that Buffalo fans, Buffalo doesn't like Dallas, and it has nothing to do with a rivalry. It has to do with the fact that Dallas beat Buffalo 2 straight years in the Super Bowls 27 and 28 respectively. Buffalo still the first team in NFL history to make it to 4 straight Super Bowls and lose all 4 of them. But I think the Bills, as much as I'd like to, I think Buffalo, because they're at home, has an edge. It's just really hard to go against Dallas's momentum right now. Buffalo's been too up and down. It's really hard to trust them right now. And like I said, for this game, I'm literally going upon I said we like to show our cats. But I'm going to ride the momentum in this game. I'm going to take Dallas on the road. I think Buffalo needs to win more, but I think Dallas really wants to solidify themselves as a perennial favorite in the NFC. Like I said, that being said, give me Dallas on the road.
The Bills have been kind of wishy washy. They started off strong in the beginning of the year, and like then their offense and defense kind of went up and down, missed level, whatever you want to consider it. Dallas has had a phenomenal defense, a phenomenal special team. Now their offense needs a little bit of work, but overall their offense has gotten way better the past couple of games. So I'm going to go with. I mean, granted, yes, I'm going to go with Dallas, anyways. But for the sake of the game, if Buffalo was showing me something, I would have to go against Dallas. But because Dallas has the momentum, they have the drive, they have the want. Give me Dallas.
All right, we go into Sunday Night Football. We have the 10-3 Baltimore Ravens taking on the 8-5 Jacksonville Jaguars. A credit to Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence with that high ankle sprain. I thought that was actually going to sideline him for a couple of weeks. It's yet to be determined if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But the Jaguars hosting undoubtedly the hottest team in the AFC right now, which is Baltimore. They have been for the last several weeks. Offensively, Lamar Jackson has been playing extremely well. He's got a lot of weapons on offense, despite the fact Baltimore's been snake bit by injuries this year, but it really hasn't mattered. Jacksonville, with Trevor Lawrence not being 100%, I mean you're going against the top team in the AFC right now. It's really, I mean, Trevor Lawrence at full capacity, I'd say has a better shot, but with Trevor Lawrence on that bad ankle, um, again, we talked momentum with Dallas. The Ravens have got a lot of momentum as well. I think the Ravens are gonna ride and roll in this game. I think Jacksonville keeps it close, but at the end of the day, I like Baltimore on the road here against Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville has just been kind of just because of this downfall in games, but Baltimore, like you said, they have that momentum. So I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one.
All right, and we go into Monday Night Football. We have the 10-3 Philadelphia Eagles taking on the 6-7 Seattle Seahawks in a battle of the birds. So this game, I'll keep this one just short and sweet. I think the Eagles need a win here badly. They have been last couple weeks they've taken a beating. 49ers, the Cowboys. You go from being the number one team in the NFC. You've now in 2 weeks you've spiraled down to number 5. I think Seattle can keep it close, but I think the Eagles are really in need of a win. Seattle again is in that 6-7 echelon with 4 or 5 other teams jockeying for one of those final spots. But and mainly I'm taking Philly in this because, like I said, a Seahawks loss it helps Green Bay. It helps Green Bay stay in that 7th spot, which is kind of ironic because if the playoffs were to start today, it would be the Packers and the Cowboys. Which would be interesting. I mean, I would take Dallas in that game because, like I said, I just Green Bay can't stop a clock, let alone anything else. But I think the Eagles are in more need of a win. They've been the talk of the NFL, so I think Philadelphia needs this win a little bit more. Seattle needs the win record wise, but I think momentum and psyche wise, I think Philadelphia needs this win more. Give me the Eagles on the road.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset here. I really wouldn't. I'm not saying I'm going to go with Seattle. I really do not think it's going to come down to that. However, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a upset and Seattle somehow pulls off the win against the Eagles. So I'm going to take the Eagles, but with the thought that there could be an upset.
Very well could be. So recapping, we Raiders over the Chargers, the Bengals over the Vikings. We split. I'm taking the Colts over the Steelers. Holly's got the Steelers over the Colts. We have the Lions over the Broncos. Excuse me. We split on the. I've got the Browns over the Bears. Holly has the Bears over the Browns. We have the Packers over the Buccaneers. I have the Texans over the Titans. Holly has the Titans over the Texans. We have the Dolphins over the Jets, the Chiefs over the Patriots, the Saints over the Giants, Falcons over the Panthers, Rams over the Commanders, San Francisco over Arizona, Dallas over Buffalo, Baltimore over Jacksonville, and Philadelphia over Seattle. So yeah, kind of an action-packed episode. Like I said, I had to talk a little bit about playoff. Like I said, I will be providing updated playoff seedings as we go through. Like I said, after this week, it could very easily change on both sides of the spectrum. But like I said, we'll talk more about seeding next week, where we're at after this chorus of games. So that's going to wrap up this episode, guys. I want to thank you guys so very much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to both of our channels. Give this video a thumbs up if you would, pretty please. It does help both of our channels grow. I'm going to be back at you guys with another episode of Liza P. I don't know where the heck I'm going. I just know I killed the boss, and now I got to figure out where the heck I'm going. So, but I'm going to get an episode of that up before I go to bed.
So there. Where?
Pretty much. I got to be like, but yeah. So,
We go,
come
Jordan.
out. Come hell or high water, we will finish Liza P, and I'm actually going to do New Game Plus because I know there's like a bunch of stuff I've missed. But be that as it may, yeah, then I have a really, really early day at work tomorrow. Then I'm off Friday and Saturday, so you guys will get me a lot on those 2 days. Maybe even Saturday because the wife is off as well. Maybe get into some Jackbox games on Saturday. I know last time we did it, Mindless, myself, Holly, Big Baby J, we had a blast doing it. Like I said, the more people that play, the more fun it is. So I'll talk to her about that. I'm sure she'll be game for that. So that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Make sure to check out Holly and I in our next respective videos, and I will catch you guys here in just a little bit for the next episode of my Liza P playthrough. So love you guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next videos. Take care.
Later.